Okay, let's talk about some wiring in the sewing area, which used to be just a open basement. So when the addition was first put on, we just had 4 pulse switches. This one's actually controlled by the light switch over there when you first walked into the room. Is that true? No, I think that one was. This was a pull switch. A pull switch. And there's a pull switch in that partitioned off area. Since that time, we used to just have an air hockey table there, and that was it. So we plugged it in over by the sump pump, which probably shouldn't do, but we did. So the only outlets that were here were that one for the sump pump, and it has a sump pump and a dehumidifier now. There was a outlet with the switch, and you can see there's an outlet over there. Since that time, we've had obviously need for more outlets, as we have TVs and tuners, we got 3 or 4 sewing machines, we got irons, we got radios and lamps, we have ceiling fluorescent lights that were put in. Yeah, so this is the solution temporary to that. So I ran a 3-wire 14-3 to here, so one outlet is switched by the switch by the door, and the other one's constant power. So things like that's the switched one. So we have, like, these lights are plugged in there, that light is plugged in there, so when you throw the switch, all the lights in here go off. This one is a constant power, and that runs for the TV and those electronics. It also runs to her embroidering machine, which needs to have continuous power. Even if it's late at night and she wants to turn the lights off, that still needs to keep running when she's doing a project, so that needs constant power. And you can see we have this extension cord which runs over to this power strip, which is switched by the door, and that controls these light fixtures. It also controls these lights up in here, and she has a radio plugged into it, and sometimes she plugs the light into it, and she also plugs the iron into it. This is the same, all in the same circuit, right? Which also does part of the upstairs too. So the dehumidifier is plugged in here. So the issue is when the dehumidifier is running and she plugs her iron in, then the breaker trips. So needless to say, it's all on one 15 amp lighting circuit, with all the lights in here. So the intent has always been to put an appliance circuit in a 20 amp circuit. So this is my quiet room, and we have a couple of space heaters here because it gets chilly in the winter time. So if I'm doing meditation here, I like to heat just this quiet room up. So we need to accommodate 20 amps for that, a 20 amp circuit for the iron, which I asked her, and she said she does not like to plug it up there. It's in the way. She wants to plug it over here. She wants something right here that she can plug it into. And this is just like a movable partition for the shelves. Like that slides. And it's just to keep a bracing in the middle of the shelving. We need to accommodate a dehumidifier, and a dehumidifier actually might go over there, because then we can run a drain hose into the subfloor drain instead of keep emptying the pan. And this stand-up air conditioner dehumidifier, one time we had run over here to cool and dry the basement in the summertime, because the dehumidifier runs a lot, but it puts a lot of heat down here. So the thought is to put that over here in a more permanent position. And I still have to run the 12-2 out that way for the heating coils on outlet on the outside of the house for a heating coil. So I gotta run wires for that. So that's where we're at. The first thing that comes in is that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a 14-3 all the way over here and put another box in a similar setup, one switched, one constant. Gonna label them, and these are GFIs, so we're all set. We're just going to use feed throughs, and I'm going to label these, and then that hopefully is going to alleviate this long extension cord, and we'll be able to clean up a lot of this wiring here. And I got this box in. We ran some 14-3, and we tack that up, and now we got to make those connections. So I wired those up with the idea of a feed through GFI, so I used 14-3. But upon further review of the play on the field, my intent was to do a feed through, so I can't use a common white neutral. I need a separate neutral for the feed through GFI to work. So I really need to run 2 cables of 14-2, take a black and a white, and a black and a white connect the ground. So I have to pull that all apart unless during my dream state tonight something else comes in.